NCRP Productions presents Unhallowed Metropolis, Secrets in the Sands, Episode 7. Welcome back again to Unhallowed Metropolis. This is Barry. I'm running the game again. Sadly, once again, we are without Sequoia. Frankie will not be joining us. We haven't heard anything bad, but no update on her grandmother, so here's hoping that she's still doing better and better each time. I'm going to go around the room again. Jill, start with us.
I'm Jill, and I am playing Raya the Mourner.
I'm Matt, and I'm playing Ayden Carter, Antiquarian.
Hello, I'm Michael. I'm playing Dr. Everett Wolf, the doctor specializing in chemistry and alchemy.
Hello, I'm Ty. I'm running Ray Callahan, our Pugilist.
Hey everyone, it's Pedro. I'm playing Dr. Desmond Wright, the surgeon of the group, as well as some galvanics.
All right, so let's jump right into it. Last time there was a number of odd things going on. Ray ran from a situation that was really bad into potentially something that was worse. You stepped away from a statue, there was an explosion, lights blew out in the warehouse that you were in, and then you ran. You're not certain how many other people ran with you, but as you went through the crowd, you know that a number left with you. You ran through town, you headed back, you are now on the way to Ayden's. Along the way, you noticed that there was a lot of stuff going on in town. At Ayden's home, Wolf, Raya, and Mei Ling were dealing with Sarah, who seems to be in better shape, seems to be recovered. She had told you guys that she felt somebody had died.
We don't know that.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. She's Egyptian, so
we have a written note.
That's the notes. My notes reminded me that, but eventually you're going to have her explain it through Ayden. But you do know that she is doing better. You guys started hearing a slight commotion outside. In the streets. The largest amount of what was going on happened over at Abbasi's home, where as Wright went upstairs and ministered to Abbasi's daughter, who had been struck by something, knocked the wind out of her, and she had hit the floor, breaking her nose. Doctor doing a number of things, setting her nose, cleaning her up, etc. A number of peculiar things happened, ending in there was a hole in the roof that you believe was created from what looks like the remains of a frog that you guys found. That and also some blood from her abdomen are in your valise. The group was basically warned that the ENF are looking for Dr. Wright. Ayden, you sent Cal out to try and find some form of a vehicle and also to grab Marood and meet you in the backside and trying to corral Billings and get everyone out. Ayden, Wright, Frankie, Billings, Marood, and Cal are in that area. So we left last time with you guys noticing in the sky that everyone who's outside, so that would not include Raya and Wolf, noticed that the sky, there was very little light, but what light you could see, the sky was red. So we begin there.
So I was going to tell Frankie to stay with them, and I'm going to go up to the beginning of the alley.
Okay.
And while I'm heading up there, I'm drawing out my Luger, and I'm going to keep it concealed, kind of hidden, but if I need it, I want it in my hand.
Very good.
And I'm going up to the edge, and I'm going to keep a lookout to make sure nobody comes down the alleyway this way.
Gotcha. Well, once you get up there, you will see that there is a vehicle coming towards you. And as it gets closer, you can very quickly recognize that it is Cal driving.
All right, so I'll run out at that point when he stops, and I'm going to whistle down the alleyway and make him this kind of motion.
The motion? All right.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start going. I'll be like, my word, I wonder what they want to know from me. I haven't done anything since I've been here. And Frankie, my boy, this is so strange. Did they ever run us down into Egypt? I don't remember reading of that.
So the only thing Frankie's going to be able to tell you is that Frankie's aware that atmospheric conditions, dust in the air, red is a color that happens. That's as much as Frankie knows.
Red is a color that happens. That sounds like Frankie.
That's almost philosophic.
Do that.
Red is a color that happens. Oh my gosh.
So the group of you will go ahead and step into the vehicle.
And then I'm going to...
And Cal is going to say, Ayden, would you like to drive? I'm uncertain where we're going.
I don't think that would be a good decision.
Cal says, well, then give me directions.
I will.
I say we get out of the streets soon. He says that as Marud and I were bringing the vehicle back, there are people everywhere. There seems to be some level of chaos, although it does not seem to be into a mob situation yet. There are people that seem to not know what's going on. Do you know what's going on? How long have you been here? I understood it was most, if not all, of your life.
I do not. I would say what's going on right now is strikingly familiar to a couple passages in a very popular book called the Bible.
So Cal looks at you and then gets to driving, but you can see wheels are turning.
And then I'm going to turn to Dr. Wright and say, Doctor, I need you to slide down. I'll take off my headscarf. This is probably a pretty big cock. And I'll say, keep this over you so nobody can see you.
Oh, all right.
Cal will turn to you, Ayden, and say, you realize that we appropriated this vehicle. I'm not certain what you're thinking we should do with it once we arrive.
We'll ditch it. I got it. Don't worry about that.
Okay. So you guys drive. As long as you take Cal down, I'm going to call them main roads, which tenement roads, they're basically one vehicle wide. It takes you only about 3 minutes to get to your home.
I got a question. So in London, if I remember right, in this world, I mean, religion is prevalent.
We are still Anglican in the majority of people are Anglican in London.
So we would know about the 7 plagues.
The different plagues and that type of thing, Revelations.
So if he mentions that,
side,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, both you, Wright, and Wolf, having gone to school, should have some theological training.
Yeah.
You can choose to be whatever religion you want for the game, but you would not have been able to avoid that training.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, that kind of plays in my mind like that can't be that. This is
Preposterous is a word you think.
Preposterous.
So once you guys are there,
we get there. I was curious. Could I perhaps know a chop shop nearby or
for the vehicle?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, sort of. But with the number of vehicles that are here, the chances are they would know. Vehicles that drive up from Alexandria potentially come out of the Sudan. Some of the few other places people come from, that might be easy to do. It would be better if you could get this out of here. Maybe even have somebody drive it away, drive it back to where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
That's your feeling. You can do what you wish.
Okay. Well, any teenagers or stuff out in the
Not here, not just simply out in front of your house. Again, same situation as everywhere else. There are a few people that seem bewildered in the streets looking up at the sky. The majority of people are off the streets. It's that time of the evening they wouldn't be out. Okay. But you do know a young man who has done work for you before. It's too bad that Ray isn't here. He can run right up there and do it. But you could, if you want, get them in the house, run up there and ask him to do it for you.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay, and it's pence, shillings, pounds, right?
Right.
So a couple of shillings thrown his way, and he'll take it wherever you want.
All right, I'll give him 5 shillings.
Very good. So and he'll take it away. Everyone else is inside. By the time you come back from getting him set to go, Ray is going to be back as well. He'll come in right before you do. But initially, we have Wolf and Raya. You hear the door open up front, and you can hear Wright and everyone
commotion
talking
outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I heard commotion outside, I would have told Wolf and Sarah to stay away from the door, and I would have stayed close to the door.
Okay.
Ready to.
Gotcha.
So
you would have reacted once the door opened, but very quickly you can hear them talking.
Yeah.
I have a question. When we got here, we parked out front, correct?
Yes.
If I look around, do I see any of the rocks in the street?
Give me a roll.
Let me use a reroll on that.
And that's
Damn,
the
I'm
other
good.
question. You said roofs were on fire. Is our roof on fire?
No. No.
16?
And when you get out, Ayden, that's that will click into your head. Nothing's on fire over here. So with a 16, you will see one. You're very much looking. You only see one, but it's in the street, a couple of stoops down.
I'm gonna be like, I'll be right back, and I'm gonna just kind of hobble on over there.
All right, so you pick it up. It's smaller than the one you have.
And I'm gonna go for where I think the mouth would be, and
Yep. It is what you think it is.
Curious, and I'll hobble.
It does
make
not.
my way
It
there.
does not appear to be as badly burned.
Yeah.
Like you can see ragged appendages. Like if you had thrown the frog down a street, it would have been torn up. So there are a bit more than the one you have.
So,
What are you doing with it?
Well, I'll go in because I hear.
What are you doing with it?
Oh, I'm just holding it.
All right, so you're bringing it inside.
Yeah, I'm bringing it in.
I'm
All
just
right.
trying to think
So-
because Goliath frogs are native to Africa and they're the size of like small dogs.
Yeah, it's not that big. Not that big.
Yeah, it burned up a bit in Atmo.
Just the idea. of
So yeah, I'm just very curious about it. So I'm on my way in, and because there's one other scientific mind technically in this house, and so yeah, that was a minor dig into Dr. Patel.
Ah, yes, the one who ruined my entire life.
You technically have a degree. So I'll go inside and what does anything happen?
Well, so that's my question. So Raya, once they come in and you identify that it's at this point it's going to be Cal, Marood, and Billings and Frankie.
Okay. So once they get all in, I will continue to stand by the door.
Okay. And then maybe a minute later, Wright comes up the stoop. You can hear the telltale click of his cane. He comes in. He's got something in his hand. You have no idea what, but it's Dr. Wright. You do with that information as you will.
Where have you been?
Oh,
what did you do this time?
Raya.
I love that it's her that blames him immediately.
Right at the front door.
Well, now, Raya, what do you mean? What have I done? When have I ever done anything wrong? And I'll just keep going. I'm not making eye contact.
Are you going upstairs? Or
No,
are
I'm
you
gonna
next
say,
door and up to your rooms?
I'll
Are you
solve
staying
it,
in
actually.
Ayden's?
Yeah, I will.
So everyone's right now in Ayden's home.
Ryan, is Ayden there?
I have
You have not seen Ayden and you have
not
not seen
seen-
Ray.
Dr. Wolf, is that you?
Ayden yet.
Right? Yes, it's me.
Dr. Wolf, I have found something quite interesting. Come look at this.
So do you go into the kitchen or does Wolf come out of the kitchen?
If I actually, I'll hobble over to him.
Yeah. I'm still with Sarah, and I'm making
Yes,
sure that
right.
she's.
So it's very important. I want to know what you're doing. So you walk in with this thing in your hand.
So when
you do what?
Well, first I see Sarah on the table.
No, you see Sarah sitting.
Sitting, and does she look disheveled or hurt
No,
or anyway?
she looks like she's sitting down.
Okay, excellent.
Wolf is standing next to her. Dr. Patient-D, if you want to look that way.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Nothing looks wrong with her, but he looks Dr. Patient-D standing.
Well, then I will ask first. I'll be holding this charred black thing, and I'll say, Doctor Wolf, did something happen to her?
Yes, strange occurrence. I'm not entirely sure what had happened.
Did she possibly fall to the ground, clutching her head, screaming about something, perhaps? Oh, you don't speak her language, so screaming at all?
Yes. Why? Did you experience something similar?
2 women at the house we were at both did that. Are there other people here?
The only,
no,
the
okay.
only one here is Mei Ling and
And then I'll
Raya.
ask, what of Raya and Mei Ling?
Neither of them. Although currently me
I'm
and
right here.
She's right behind you.
Well, you didn't hear anything weird, fall down to the ground in pain.
No.
And Mei Ling, no.
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 Interesting. Well, all right then.
So by now, since you guys have been there, as he's talking, Wright gesticulates. His hands move when he speaks. He could be Italian, all right? His hand's there. You guys see that hand is full of something kind of charred and pulpy.
Doctor, before you distress my patient, what do you have?
Oh, yes. So
That
this
is
is
disgusting.
This is the second one that I found. So the first one seems to have came through the roof of the building we were at, strike a young lady who also had clutched her head and it had hurt her a little bit. But look, and I'll move the mouth, and I'll say, it is a frog that is charred and has come from the sky.
And in the same way that Wright knows, Wolf has worked on frogs before too. It's definitely, as far as you can tell, a frog, a really mangled frog.
Yeah, and then I'll put it on the table and I'll open my valise.
That's what I was waiting for. So Sarah looks at it the second you set it down, stands up, says something, you're not sure what it is, but it's definitely an expletive, and swipes it off the table onto the floor.
Yeah.
And then walks away from you, and if you guys watch her for a moment, she'll grab a rag and immediately start cleaning the surface.
Yeah.
Okay.
I told you that thing was disgusting.
Not to mention, this is the kitchen and not a sanitary area.
Yes.
So he picks it up off the non-sanitary
I'll pick it up. I'll say, yes, quite. But anywho, let's find a table where I can put something on.
So outside there are a number of seats with small benches that you could go to.
So as I go out there, I'll also ask Dr. Wolf. Now, this is going to sound strange, Dr. Wolf.
Well, everything so far has been strange with any of our extracurricular activities, Doctor.
Ray, one sec. Ray, you come in. Where do you go?
I would probably collapse into the floor cushions pretty much.
Very good. All right.
Just
back to you two. Sorry.
So, have you, in your doctoring, ever heard of, blood seeping through the skin of a patient with no internal bleeding, and then, as you wipe it up, it moving on its own, and then perhaps laying the bloody rag on the ground, it relieving itself of the rag, and then having a mind of its own, and then also when you try to scoop it up into a vial, going into the vial of its own volition.
Okay.
There's a slow blink for a moment. He goes, well, you could have described a failed homunculus. Do you happen to have it with you, Doctor?
I do, in fact, have it. Let's go to the table. If there's anything on the table, I'm just going to kind of brush it to the side.
No, the table, the small benches out here, effectively, that you guys will put drinks on or something like that, are cleared. They're not clean necessarily, but they're cleared.
It's here that Wolf actually gets a chance of the sky. It's like, what on earth is happening?
Yes, something is going on with the sky. Frankie described it as red happens. Red is a color that happens.
Yes, at sunset and maybe sunrise, and particularly after fires, but not.
It's quite strange. But anyway, and I'll set the frog down.
Are those fires out in the distance?
Yes.
So if you smell, you will catch a very slight burning on it, but you're not going to see the fires from where you are. You're not even going to see the blink for the lights of it. It's too far away.
What is happening out there, Doctor?
Oh, it's utter chaos out there. I truly do not know, and apparently somebody is looking for me too. For what reason, I could not imagine.
There's chaos. And what's happening to the people? You're saying that at least 3 women have suffered this.
Yes, it's quite strange. Once it happens, twice it's peculiar, but 3 times, that seems like it's getting close to a pattern.
Doctor, were there anyone else out there when you were on your way back here that you saw in...
Not that I can recall. I to be honest, I wasn't looking. I was talking with Frankie about his philosophical views on color.
There's a pause where Wolf's thinking for a moment. Dr. Wright, we're not in London. We're not in Britain. But we're doctors, yes?
But yes.
And as doctors, if there's people in need, regardless of that, we should be doing our due diligence to help them in whatever ails them.
Yes. Yes. You are correct. Perhaps in examining this we may learn something further. My boy, as much as I'd like to be out there, apparently the guard of this place is after me. If I step foot out of here and they recognize me, I will be taken in for questioning, which I highly doubt is going to be the kind.
There's a thing for a moment as Wolf's there.
After seeing what happened to that child earlier today.
Dr. Wolf, I will examine this blood, and I'll examine anything else that you have to tell me, but as soon as we're done with this, you stay here and stay safe. If the police are after you, I will be going out.
And you're a good man for doing it. Now, and I'll just kind of splorch the frog onto the table.
That's the one that you've been carrying.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'll just wipe my hand onto my new clothes.
On your pants?
Yeah.
On your
just wipe them off.
robe?
And then I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the other frog, and I'll lay it out, and then I'll say, you have a larger flask at all, vial, and
Pull.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then so I'll pull out the vial of blood, and I'll say, well, let's start with this. I'm going to pour it into the larger vial. Let's see if we get a reaction out of it. And I'm going to
Uncork it?
I'm going to put it on gloves.
Okay.
And then I'm going to uncork it and try and uncork it in a way that it's going to pour into the larger flask.
Very good. So as you uncork it, there is a very small, very slow-moving drop that drops out like nearly dried blood would be, and nothing else moves out. In fact, as you look at it and shake it a little, it seems to have solidified or clotted in there.
If I try to touch the side of the larger flask to the blood, like try and take the
Nothing happens.
Okay, I'm gonna touch the blood to the cloth.
Nothing happens. Although you do get a small. It would be as if it was nearly fully clotted blood, nearly dried. You do get a small smudge onto the cloth.
Well, that's curious. Could I try one more thing?
Mm-hmm, of course.
Well, what is it that Frankie said? Red is a thing that happens. Clotting is a thing that happens, Doctor.
And you'll see. I'll look at you with kind of a stirred face. So yes, I'm very aware that clotting happens. And then you'll see kind of like almost, I wouldn't say a smirk with my mouth or with my eyes as I get an idea. I touch the blood to the frog. I want to see if anything happens.
So you're talking about the end of the flask.
Yeah.
You're touching to the frog that it.
I just want the blood to touch the frog. Just
Gotcha. So as you touch it there, you guys will both see this. The blood appears to come out of the flask and disappear.
Into the frog?
How would you know?
Okay, that's fair.
That would be you would see it that way because that's what you were expecting. You will see from the back to the front as if it had rolled out.
Yeah.
The blood just disappears.
Okay.
Huh. Well, I can't say I was expecting that.
Do you take the vial away from the touching frog?
Yeah.
At which point, when you pull that away, the frog the frog just deflates, and there's a horrible smell of sulfur.
Oh.
The other frog has not deflated yet.
Oh.
The one that you picked up from the street.
Deflated.
Dr. Wolf,
Is there now a pool of blood around this? No.
No. Now there is a puddle of frog. It's not gooey, but whatever was making it bulbous now has pretty much gone.
I'm gonna take like a, I don't know, forceps, something. Yeah, I guess a forceps.
Sure.
I'm gonna try and pick up the frog itself.
Yeah, no problem. You can get a hold of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't ooze through
There's
the
no,
forceps.
there's no blood anywhere.
No blood
If
anywhere.
I touch the vial to the frog, does blood go into the vial?
Nope.
If I touch the cloth to the frog, anything going? No.
Nope. And the drop of blood that had gone onto the cloth does not move either.
I would just like to say Puddle of Frog is the name of my Muppet cover band.
I'd listen to them.
That's awesome.
Okay, and then last thing I'm going to take another forceps and just kind of snap the frog.
So you're going to take
So
two forceps
Yeah.
and try and break it?
I'm just going to try and bend it.
All right, so it bends. I mean, it has a skeleton. You can hear the bones.
Okay, I'll
Crack-ish.
actually, I'm dumb. I take out scalpel and slice it.
Ah, okay.
Thank you.
So as you take it out, it looks like a frog that maybe has been desiccating for 4 or 5 days, by your guess.
And no blood oozes out, nothing like that.
No, I mean, it's
Yeah.
exactly what you would expect if the frog had just laid out on the ground for, say, 5 days in
Huh.
sunlight and wind.
Is that the one that just got
No,
shriveled?
that's the one he rolled out of the cloth. This is the one he brought from the house.
Okay.
Yeah, and
The other frog is still has a shape to it. Is still.
I can't say I was expecting that, and I really don't know what to make of it.
As I said, potentially a failed homunculus. Anything along those lines sometimes when it comes to that, there have been known for puddles to manifest out of them with some limited amount of sentience, trying to grasp onto an actual life that it itself was never given.
So you're saying that perhaps it attempted to latch onto this, and since there was no life to be had, it just kind of fizzled? I can't say homunculi are my specialty.
Well, I will say that homunculi is not my specialty either, but when you're dealing with alchemy, it's something that you have to learn about. Now, as I say, as I'm looking over this, where did you find this blood?
Well, it oozed out of this the Abbasi's daughter, out of her pelvic area. Once I touched the cloth to it, I went above the pelvic area. I don't know.
Right. Well,
yeah.
The important thing is it didn't ooze out of the pelvic area.
Didn't
you
it?
think
Out of
it
the
oozed
skin,
out
right?
of the yes.
The
You
skin.
think it
Okay.
oozed through the skin.
It oozed
in
out of the
pelvic
skin,
region.
out
Right.
of the pelvic region. Thank you.
Because I know what the doctor would have been thinking. The same thing all of us were smiling about. So it's
Yeah.
not that.
So thank you.
No, there's thoughts for a moment. Was there any? Did she describe anything before the blood was oozing?
Well, she said that it felt like she heard a scream and knew that somebody had died, as well as something had struck her, and we figured out through a hole in the ceiling that this frog thing here seems to have struck through the ceiling, struck her in the abdomen, pelvic region, and then this happened.
It's a theory, but perhaps these frogs are carriers of some kind of catalyst. The key to making a homunculus is some sort of facsimile of life. Struck her in the abdomen, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say around where the womb or the uterus would be?
I would say yes.
He nods. Perhaps because that is where life is often created, the catalyst reaction changed something within her, causing this pseudo homunculi to be born. If that is what this is, or at the very least, we might have a bigger problem than just a minor homunculus.
Ayden, you come back into the house as well. Ray is laying down in the cushions. In the kitchen is Raya and Frankie. I'm assuming you guys are probably talking, maybe even possibly drinking something, not necessarily alcohol, but something. Sarah is, if you're drinking, Sarah has given them, and no one else is down here.
All right.
Ayden or Ray, Sarah was distressed earlier.
I'm actually
were,
chuckling to myself on the floor, by the way.
Unable to communicate with her. Perhaps you can speak with her.
All right. First things first, though. Out of character, did I already know kind of where I was supposed to take them outside of town?
No. Grayling told you if you are able to take them where they need to go, but didn't give you a direction for it.
All right. Then I guess my next question would be, do I know anywhere outside of town that would be relatively safe?
No.
Okay.
No, specifically no.
Okay.
The closest place to you that's not in Cairo is Alexandria.
All right.
Which is not close. And you've maybe been to Alexandria more when your parents were alive, but maybe 15 times total.
Okay.
Cairo's a big place.
Right.
It's not that there's a million people, but there are thousands of people here.
Right. I'm just trying to think of something like where I could move everyone, because if they know me and they know I'm associated with them, they might come back to ask me questions.
Well, so I will remind you, they are not staying in your home.
Okay.
They are staying next door.
That is a good point.
There is no doorway between your home and next door.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to go talk to Sarah and see what happened.
She's going to tell you what you guys already know, which is she heard something scream. She will tell you she doesn't know who it was, but she knew it was a male, and you know that she knows that he's died.
All right. I'll ask her if she needs anything, or she's gonna.
No, that's my job. She tells you that's her job.
All right.
So Sarah has always been a good servant with you. You don't ever see her complain about it, and she is just doing that, continuing to be a servant.
All right. Well, I'll tell her if she needs time. Just let me know.
She thanks you.
And I'm gonna say, so the authorities are looking for our guests.
You tell Sarah this.
Right.
Okay.
We need to make sure that at least the windows facing the street are covered or in such a way so they can't be spotted in there.
She smiles. She says, "I will get right on it," and immediately stands up and starts walking.
And then I'll turn to you, Raya, and Frankie, and say, so until further notice, we need to stay around here.
Okay.
Where did the doctor go to?
I think they're out back. I have no idea where that man is.
All right. So
I like it was very specific. That man.
So I'll go out to Ray and I'll say, "Are you okay? Did you get shot?"
They certainly tried.
So was it like I thought? Was there a raid, or were they having you make statues?
Oh yeah. Freaking statues, freaking lights, freaking cultists.
All right. Can you fill me in a little bit on that?
Oh, you're like fish in a barrel to them.
There was like 4 statues, right?
3.
3.
3. I'm sorry, 3. Nubis looking, doghead, Jabba.
Yeah, the judge of the guardian of the dead, or whatever the heck that one is.
Right, and you said there were cultists?
Well, the black robes certainly tipped me off. I think they're wearing masks, but that might have been a bit of my own mind playing tricks on me.
I'm going to pull out my flask and kind of give it to him because I think he needs a drink.
Something to calm him.
He
Okay.
needs some liquid courage.
Very good.
Here, why don't you take a
It's your choice, Ray. If you want to have it settle you, there's no reason that it shouldn't.
I'll take the flask and I'll take a good swig. Like, tonight sure has been eventful, hasn't it?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I'm fine.
all right. So you said it was like a ritual of some sort?
There was people from all over town going to it. Biff and Little Ray were there with me. Like I said, we were told we were moving things, and we all piled up in those warehouses by the airfield.
At the airfield.
Airfield. That's right. That's the word. I almost said airport. I'm like, that's not really accurate. At the airfield, and they only let us in at groups of 10, and each time they would shut and bar the doors. And that was what first started cluing me into the whole situation. Oh, Biff and Little Ray, probably nothing more than little spatters on the pavement now.
I'm kind of like looking a little, take a step back.
Are we going full Call of
Right.
Cthulhu?
This is my corruption.
Oh, that's right.
This is my. I have to look at everything in a humorous way.
I forgot about that.
This
So
is
you've
great.
probably seen this once or twice before, actually.
Did they say anything? Did you witness anything or anything of note?
When they wanted each group to come up and just put their hands on the statue, and I didn't, of course, because I have half a brain, like, unless the rest of those twats. But things started happening. There were odd lights around the statues. There was everyone started talking in a loop. the exact same thing over and over again every 15 seconds. I talked to Biff. He was standing right next to me. Of course, he wasn't talking, and he didn't talk the entire time. Then I heard something. I heard sound like a knife being... I can't describe it, but... Well, I got out of there quick, and when I started hearing the bullets, I ran faster, and... I made it out the door through the crowd, and people weren't listening to me, even though I clearly knew what was going on, and they didn't. Well, that's when I started hearing the big guns. I don't know how much of a crowd there is left, but I doubt it ain't much, and I don't think a lot of people got out. I don't know what kind of ritual is taking place. All I know is I think it's time for me to move on to the next town.
Probably not a bad idea. Why don't you just take it easy? If you need anything, give me a holler.
Oh, it'll be a few minutes before I calm down, but I'll be fine.
All right. And I'm going to head upstairs and start going through my library. Since he kind of described the ritual to me, I'm going to see if I have anything or have found anything similar in my books.
All right, so...
Basically, I'm using my ability... Cabinet of Curiosity, so it's like I have a collection of books and things, and I can use it for intellect research tests kind of thing.
Okay, that's kind of what I was going for. I'm assuming it's a history test, or are you thinking just research as intelligence is the, or intellect is the...
I don't remember there being a
There
research
isn't.
skill,
That's what I was asking. So we'll make it a straight intellect roll with whatever that bonus allows, if there's a bonus.
Check the one with the questionably bound leather.
Yes.
I would
It
go for
looks
that
like
one.
it's slightly breathing.
I almost said I had something like that. But,
The first one I would go to.
okay, so that's 8. And then...
It's bound with skin. I mean hide.
Hide? I've got a vial of that.
So 18.
All right. So with an 18, and you're looking for, what are you hoping to find?
Hoping to find maybe somewhere in all the various Arcana books and stuff I have, something talking about that ritual or something similar to that.
So not that ritual, similar types of things. So going for Egyptian lore, there are some statues that were supposed to be the embodiment of a pharaoh or somebody of great power. It's their power on Earth. Maybe it would be something to unlock and take that power for someone else. There are rituals that, when I'm saying rituals, I'm talking more theological, more religious. These are ones that, as far as you're concerned, because there's nothing that would suggest otherwise, that are simply religious ceremonies with that mental thought that I'm pulling the power. You know, the current person in power, the pharaoh or the great architect, would go before the statue. They would cast this ritual, do this ritual, and that person would draw the power out. Now you're wondering if maybe that's actually what happened. Again, you know, science wins out over magic every time as we move forward. And so in each of the cases where there was some talk about it, modern day says, oh, well,
this could be something, some part of the hidden world.
yes, it could.
So I'm just going to kind of take some notes and stuff and write them down in my notebook and keep them in case we need them later.
Very good.
And I'm almost... So, I know, or at least I thought Egyptians didn't really have human sacrifice.
No.
So, but knowing what the statue was, Anubis, is Anubis the darker aspect of death? Like, I thought he was kind
He's
of
the judge. Anubis is the judge. He's the one who weighs the souls.
Okay, so-
weighs the heart against the feather.
So he's not like Sutek or whatever.
So, if I remember correctly, and I have to look into it, I think it's Sobek is the one you're talking
The
about.
alligator.
So-
Or Apophis, that's what I'm thinking.
Apophis.
We're thinking
Yeah.
of Apophis. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sobek's more of a oddly a different interpretation of a fertility god in a lot of ways, but he's like a guardian of the water and stuff like that.
So I think my character would probably start wondering if maybe since it is that maybe they were trying to open a doorway. That's why there was the weird laser stuff.
Sure.
Or maybe it was some sort of battery and they were charging it up. So if I can, I'll kind of look into that, see if there's anything.
Pulling notes for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So while that's going on, Raya, yes, right.
I'm gonna head up to his library or whatever.
Okay, so I was getting to you. So before you get moving there, So, Raya, you are where at this point?
I'm still hanging out
Around the kitchen. All right. So you and Frankie will see Sarah, who's gone and pulled curtains in the front, comes back, walks past Ray, looks at him for a moment, then goes in, and you see her go. She will pour a glass of something. You're guessing it's probably some kind of watered down liquor. She's poured it for you guys before, a watered down wine, that type of thing. So she brings it out. She brings it to you, and she says, "You look exhausted." She hands it to you. Do you look up and take it from her, or do you ignore her?
It's like, no. I
Do you
think I've
look-
had enough excitement for.
Do you look up?
I will look up.
Okay, but you do not take it from her.
No.
So you will see her, and you will see her. As you look up, she looks in your eyes. You don't see this. You will see her eyes open wide, like she's seen something. But you will see her drop the mug, which bounces in front of you, and she runs, grabs the front door, and runs out. Doesn't scream, nothing. Just looks at him, or drops the glass and runs.
Okay.
And then you were saying you were going up to Ayden's room. She shuts the door too.
So she completely runs out of the house. Okay.
Just dead sprint.
Pretty much, with the only stop being open the door, shut the door.
At least she shut
At
the
least she
door.
has confidence to close the door behind her.
Because
That's
wasting air
curious.
conditioning is really expensive.
So back to you guys on the back patio.
Oh, I think you have something there with the homunculi. Now, I mean, I guess the only way to test that theory would be to place.
We're not chucking that at
I'm not saying we chuck it at anybody. I'm just saying that would be the only way to test it. So therefore, we shouldn't do it. We shan't. But if we see anybody else that was struck by one of these by chance, maybe we should ask them if any blood pooled or anything strange like that. And then I'll start folding up the frog and being like, I think you have something there, and I'll put it on my
yes.
back.
And he goes like, yes, I think you have something there. Surprise!
As you're walking away, throws it in the back of your head.
Did you look? What's that over there?
Now
Oh, that damn thing!
So you
Yes.
wrap up the frog from Abbasi's house.
Yes.
What are you doing with the frog that you cut open?
I think we should probably burn this one, no?
I'm not sure what's going to happen if we burn it.
I don't either, but I don't like the idea of keeping it around either.
For science.
Perhaps it's better we.
Well, who said that? Who said that? For science. Someone say science.
Perhaps it's better for now we keep it in one of the jars.
Yes.
And so until we find a way to properly dispose of it.
Sounds good. Well, that's the thing. I'm essentially taking the forceps and trying to mash it into the. I don't know what do we have. I don't have a bigger jar on me.
I brought the bigger jar.
Yeah, you have the flask.
Right, so you're using the forceps to cram the
to put
the
it into
frog
the jar.
into it. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. So yeah, it's jammed in there.
So I don't know how.
It's all like,
Yeah.
I can't say it is the weirdest thing we've collected, but it is quite interesting.
Are you stoppering it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Just making sure.
Just
And,
wait,
I'm
it's gonna
gonna-
all this sulfuric gas that suddenly.
I'm gonna take the rag that has the one drop of blood. I'm going to cut around the drop of blood, forcep that into the vial where the blood was.
Okay.
So
very good.
stopper that. Set that in my bag. Well, this is quite an interesting night. We should really go. And his aunt didn't make a noise when she left. She didn't
Nope,
scream, right?
you guys have no idea.
We should probably go see what the rest of them are up to.
I'll need about sorry, what was your character's name again? Ayden. I will need Ayden to translate what Sarah wrote, just to see if it collaborates with everything else.
Oh yes, let's go find Ayden. That sounds good. And have you seen Ray?
I've not seen Ray.
Oh, curious.
So you guys head back in.
Yeah.
So at this point, as you come back in, are you doing anything, Raya? Having seen Sarah look at him and basically run to the door and close the door and run out?
So I'll tell you two what happened and say Sarah just ran out
Oh, what
into
happened?
the street.
Oh,
And by the way, there's Ray.
Ray. Hi. How are you, Ray? You look a little Stress.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I've had one hell of a night.
Oh, we all have had one hell of a night. You're saying that she looked upon you and ran away?
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be the first woman, but
I'm gonna like cane my way over to Ray. I'm gonna say, was she standing about here? Yes.
yeah.
And I'm gonna look down at him. Do I notice anything strange?
You don't notice anything strange in him, but you do notice that there's the dropped mug to the side.
Oh, well, what a shame of a waste. And I'm gonna look at you, and I'm gonna get a little closer, and I'm gonna just like stare into your, like, look at your face, your eyes. I'm like, what did she find so strange?
I don't know. She can't even see my eyes.
And
my hair's all the way down.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna
Barry's face is just.
No, I'm trying to remember from earlier. No, I don't think you do. Go ahead.
So yeah, so then I'm gonna like kind of kneel down on the cane and kneel with the cane, and I'm gonna get like slightly uncomfortably close and just be like, I don't.
So I will actually.
Yeah.
There is a way. Does the doctor see visions of his wife? Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah, he's Caesar.
This oddly fits for the guy of evil eye.
As you come closer to him, do you still have the patch on, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you come closer to Ray's face is overlaid for just a moment with hers, and she just says one word. She says no, but it's you know the way she was, so it's a warning. As you're coming closer, her face appears over his and says no, and immediately disappears.
So here's what happened. So I hobbled my way down. I jump back.
Give me a coordination roll to stay on your feet.
Doctor, what's happened to him?
And that's when we see that he doesn't need the cane at all.
20.
20, yeah, you're fine.
So I jump back and have the cane, like, ready for stun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Unnecessary backflip?
You see that, flick a little switch, and you see bzz, bzz.
I'm watching this and I see you like make this jump. It's just like, and then I look at your leg and I go,
And I'm gonna realize it's happening. I'm gonna click the button, put it back down on the ground, say, Ray?
Yeah?
And I'm gonna look around for my wife, see if she's anywhere.
Nope. Nowhere.
What happened to you tonight?
Oh, God,
And I'm gonna point my cane at you. I just saw something in your face. There's something wrong with you.
I mean, my eyes are bad, but...
No. Wait, I'm gonna say, cause wait. Mei Ling.
Mm-hmm.
She, yeah. I'm gonna say, where's Mei Ling? We need her immediately.
I think she's upstairs.
I'm gonna just shout, Mei Ling! Would you please come down here?
oh, she's gonna be so upset with all the doctors.
So Raya, you're gonna realize now that you said that she's probably actually next door. You guys don't stay in Ayden's home. If I remember correctly, Ray does, and Sarah does, but you guys all go next door.
Is Billings here?
Huh? No.
Okay.
No. And that's the reason why I'm saying you may realize that she's next door. Billings is not here. Cal is not here.
She's probably next door. I'll go over and
We
get
need her immediately. Tell her it is of the utmost urgency.
I'll go.
Maybe add a
Do
please.
you run over?
Well, it's just next door.
Yes, I know. Are you making it quick is what I'm asking. All right. So you get over there, you go up to their room again. They're one of the ones that have an actual room. Knock on the door. Billings will answer the door. He's not dressed as he normally is, to a T. A couple buttons are undone. Not anything weird, just he looks like he's relaxed. Buttons are done. He has his cuffs off. He has his hat off. He has his gloves off. His pants are buttoned and stuff.
Started relaxing very quickly.
His shoes are not on either. So...
I'm going to say, sir, we have need of your wife's assistance.
So, and he's not blocking the door, but he hasn't opened the door very far, and he looks to the other side of the door and looks back, and he says, my wife is not feeling well. What do you need?
It is quite urgent. We need her to use her special abilities.
So his eyebrows will raise, and he'll say, "1 moment," and shuts the door. And you can just barely hear the whisper, but it's you can hear the slight whisper.
Is it something like, "We got 15 minutes
No. We'll be just a moment. You'll hear some noises inside, and Mei Ling opens the door, sets her shirt right, just so that she actually looks just so, as she always does. Very, very military, straight, basically everything in place and polished. Definitely not the way you can see Billings looking currently sitting on the bed. By the way, the bed is made. I want to be clear. We didn't walk in on anything. So Mei Ling, she says...
They fixed that bed up real quick.
That's why it takes 15 minutes. You know, you pop the pill, you gotta wait.
So she says, what is it that you need?
Ray Callahan has come back, and Dr. Wright thinks that there's something different about him since he has returned.
And Dr. Wright is asking for me?
Yes.
Very good. She turns to Billings, nods her head once, and then walks out. She doesn't shut the door.
Okay.
And follows you.
You can
or
feel
walks in slightly ahead of you.
You can feel the sadness of Billings just bellowing.
Oh.
14 minutes, 32 seconds. Synchronized watches.
So, you lead her?
Yes.
All right. So, you come back down. You guys are probably still talking to Ray at this point.
I'm
You're
making
probably
sure Ray is staying still
so,
and in place.
So, the door opens. Are you there?
Don't say
I am there.
All right. And then Frankie is there as well. Mei Ling comes in. She
Brits.
looks directly at you. She says, Doctor, what did you need?
Mei Ling, and I'll come up towards her. There's something not right with Ray. I
feel fine. Just want to say.
So I'll tell her about the Ayden's aunt running away, because I believe you guys would have told us. Yeah, you told us that. And I say, Mei Ling, when I got close to him, I saw something, a visage, someone.
She softens a little bit.
And I'll lean in, and I'm not. I want to make sure no one else hears.
All right, so it's very quiet to her,
So,
and it is.
I saw a vision of my wife. I see her at times. She passed many years ago. She warned me, no.
And she says, loud enough that everyone hears it, but still very quietly, she says, I'm sorry, Doctor. And so she walks over. It's almost ritualistic. Mm-hmm. She walks in an odd arc towards Ray, looks at him from a distance, and starts to step forward to him. She goes down onto her feet, where her feet are actually, she has the pads of her feet down, but her heels off the ground, and she has bent her knees and is leaning over, and she's looking at Ray.
Okay, I gotta be honest, I've had enough weird cult shit tonight.
So she looks, as you're saying that, she looks at you, puts her finger in front of her face, and just says, shh. Do you respond to that immediately or not?
Okay, mean Chinese lady.
So you just relax.
Yeah.
So
Wolf's just watching this.
She looks at you for a bit. She asks you. She says, "Is your mother alive?"
No.
She stands for a moment, stares at you. She says, "Any sisters?"
Yeah, I got one back in Dublin.
As far as you know, she's alive?
As far as I know, that was 13 years ago I last saw her, but...
She looks out kind of in general at the group of you standing and watching. She goes, he'll need a glass of water.
I procure that.
So, very interesting. So Wolf goes and gets the glass of water. She looks at you. She says, how long have you been here?
I've been in Cairo for 8 years now.
And before that?
Oh, jeez.
What was your previous position prior to here, directly prior to Cairo?
I did a little bit of time in Jerusalem. It was
Very
just
good.
Tough there.
Thank you, Doctor. She reaches for the glass and gives it to you. She says, drink this fully.
Okay, and I'll take a good swig.
She puts her hand out once you bring the glass down. She takes it back from you. She looks in it. She sniffs. She does not put her nose in the cup. She puts her nose at the cup, sniffs once, and hands it in your direction where you were, and says, Doctor.
I take it.
And she says to you, give me just a moment. And she reaches into she has a number of small pockets that you guys figure maybe she could keep 1 or 2 small stones, a couple of coins. They're not large pockets. But she pulls out a coin, and she picks it up. She pulls out of another pocket. She pulls a chain, connects it up, drops it, and rotates it back and forth. The standard hypnosis type thing. Rotates it back and forth.
I've seen this party trick before.
She says, if you will watch the coin, follow it back and forth. In each motion, allow your head to relax. I don't want you to fall asleep. That's charlatanism.
If I can, I kind of do a sideways look at Wolf and Wright.
I just give you like a nod, like let her do what she's doing.
And I'll give you a single nod, like. Actually, it's a nod with a stern look, like.
Yeah. By the way, out of character, Wolf doesn't know what she's capable of, but if Wright specifically brought her for this and stuff, Wolf's just like, okay, make sure she has everything. He's letting an expert.
So she starts rolling it back and forth. You're following it back and forth. Go ahead and give me a will roll. You will add concentration to the roll.
I've got an 18.
Okay, so you do not feel like you lose control at any point. If this is, and I think I'm reading you right, that your character is kind of bored with this, you're willing to entertain it because everyone else seems to want to be a part of it, but you're basically...
I'm curious what's going on. I was going to go talk to Ayden, but now I've got the now slightly scary doctor guy.
Okay.
Who is... I don't know, were you tase me?
You're not sure. He didn't do anything. He was going to. He was ready. He was ready.
There was something strange about
There's
you.
something weird going on, and for whatever reason, this girl seems to have some semblance or understanding, so I'm willing to play along for now.
Have you, for your history, because you would know it, have you had an interest in... I'm going to call it magic. I don't necessarily mean fireballs. I mean, would you have seen magician shows? Would you have been interested in illusionists? Anything like that? Does that seem like something Ray would do?
Not. I might have seen 1 or 2 like passing by in a street, but I would never have stayed long to watch a performance.
You're not drawn to it. Very good. So at this point, you're not sure what's going on, but again, because everyone else seems to be so intent and is definitely giving you the feeling that this is, for lack of a better word, a professional, you follow through. For the rest of you guys watching, as she's swinging it back and forth, Ray's hands come up. He extends them out from his chest, and then he lifts his hands completely up, both hands up and over his head, like he's the cops say, hands up. He has that look, very, very gently, very calmly. He then puts them back down. And she stops the coin spinning. She says, do you still feel comfortable?
Aye.
If you'll indulge me a little bit more. She stops the coin from spinning, hangs it, and spins it now in a circle. So it's no longer swinging like a pendulum. It's just spinning itself on the chain. She says, if you will do your best to watch the face side. See if you can see the face side of the coin. So go ahead and give me a wit roll, or excuse me, a will roll with it would be a wit roll, but you can use concentration for this.
That's a 15.
Very good. You are able, as she says that. At first you're like, what? What are you talking about? There's no way I can see it. But as you start focusing, it's odd. You feel like you can actually see head, tail. You're not moving your head, you're not moving your eyes, you're completely focused on it. And you know it's spinning quickly, but to you, I mean, your head tells you it's absolutely spinning too quickly that you should be able to do this, but you seem to be drawing. Maybe it's some power she has that she's pulling it from you. For the rest of you guys, what you're going to see is...
Really putting a dampen on my Doubting Thomas thing.
What you guys are going to see...
That's just the hypnotism topic.
What you guys are going to see is his face. First, he frowns. Then he looks like he's extremely angry. He's not saying anything, but with the movement of his face, with the movement of his brows, his eyes will close for almost a full minute. She has not stopped spinning it. You've heard everything she said, okay? His eyes then open, and she stops the coin, and what you see is that head, and then you see her hand grab the coin. You didn't see her hand come to it, you just see her hand grab the coin. She disconnects the chain from the coin, puts both back in the pockets. She says, "Do you still feel okay?"
Yeah.
Odd chills, warmth, any strain for your eyes? And the answer to all these things is no, unless you, for some reason, have that already. This didn't do anything.
No, I feel like my regular, slightly insane self.
Good. So she looks at you and she says, "Very good. If you'll come with me," and she gives her fingers to everyone but him, but Ray.
Okay.
So Frankie, Raya, Wolf,
Yeah,
and Wright.
absolutely.
Ray, what are you doing as they walk over to her? She didn't give you any indication that she was speaking to you, when she looked her head to each of them.
Okay, I
So you
doubt
just
they're
sit
gonna
there?
let me leave, so
But do you just sit there?
I'll stand up and move around. I feel like I should have like some sort of like feeling of as to what happened, but I don't. So I'm like looking at my hands.
Right, you're
like,
checking.
If he starts to stand, I mean, I'm gonna watch him all the way out of the room. I'm gonna say,
Well, she doesn't bring you out of the room. She just brings you a little ways away from
yeah.
I'll say, Ray, if you could just stay seated. We don't want you to get woozy and fall over. So just stay seated there. We'll be just a moment.
all right, fine. I guess you are some form of doctor.
And so you sit back down?
Yeah, I'll sit back down.
So as the group of you closes in around her, she leans and she says, "I'm assuming this is what you were waiting to hear, but he's possessed." And we'll end there. So this evening, Ray, I'm going to have you take 3 experience points for everyone else 1. That was a good game. Thank you, everyone. That was great.
He's possessed. This is what you were expecting to hear.
Thank you for listening to another NCRP Productions podcast. To stay on top of everything we're doing, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook, all at NCRP Productions. You can show your support and help us continue to produce content by joining our Patreon. We offer additional podcasts like our B-sides and have GM materials, maps, and other fun things you can discover over time. You can find our podcasts on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, and many other fine podcast sites. Just look for us at NCRP Productions. We value your thoughts, so please don't hesitate to leave us feedback or comments. And if you would like to contact us directly, you can email us at ncrpproductions@gmail.com.